Hello, chat. It's Zorbing time. True. It is Zorbing time. Hello, Dragon Gus. Now, I've kind of had the vibe that something in this phase for a long time is quite the chapter, you know what I mean? Because everyone talks about phase 6 in some regard. And I always figured that there was a chapter, you know what I mean? And as I read phase 6, you know, I was like, oh, I think I know what chapter it is. And obviously, the further I got into it, you know, the more it narrows it down. And it especially doesn't help when, you know, chat is like, hey, can you stream chapter 75 of phase 6? So yeah, I got the gist. I got the gist that something's going on here. So, phase 6. What are my thoughts? So, a lot of phase 6 feels like, spinning it. It feels like ReZero is spinning its wheels, in a sense. And next time, let's gaslight him into streaming a chapter where nothing interesting happens. Fuck off. Congrats on 10k. Oh yeah, that did happen. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's true. I did hit 10,000. Phase 6 has spent a lot of time not doing much. There was the magic words chapter, which was very good. I did enjoy that one. And then a lot of the in-between was just kind of nothing. Like minor characterization here and there. And then we got to kind of the latter part of phase 6. Like, I think it really started around ludicrous rumors, and then the weights name chapter was fun. I actually quite enjoyed the Idra name chapter as well. Compared it to weights in Idra, Jesus Christ, did Hyen get brutalized, bro. That was not a fucking name chapter. That was brutal, man. Wow. That is tough. But I did enjoy, yeah, I've enjoyed the past few chapters. Hyen, best name chapter, yeah, my bad. Hyen and Zakir fighting for the worst name chapter. Yo, I'm surprised Null didn't get a name chapter in this phase. It's impressive. Hyen Zakir? Yeah, maybe. I'd have to think about it. What was I saying? Okay, so yeah. A lot of phase 6 was kind of spent not doing very much. And then, phase 6's cast is not the strongest. So like, Tanza is a character. Null is a character. Gustav is a character. Hyen is a character. Idra's cool. Waits is cool. Cecilus is here. Why does this OST sound familiar? I have used it before in some of the phase videos. It's Orson is him. It's Darkest Dungeon OST. And then yeah, it's like Subaru and Todd are doing the heavy lifting, really. Oh, Arakia. Oh my god, yeah, Arakia's here too. I forgot. Jesus. Phase 6 is not sounding its best in terms of cast. So I think the mix I do think the mix of progression and regression for Subaru in Phase 6 is interesting. And I'm assuming that the reason why everyone wants me to stream this is because the payoff is here, maybe. Subaru has progressed in the sense that he never wants to forget the brutality of death. And he's also regressed in the sense that the amount of times that he has died during the Sparkas was like innumerable. But I do think that that is intentional. Cause I think I said this in my live blog thread and in my Discord that the combination of the name Natsuki Subaru and Natsumi Schwartz is intentional. The names weren't mixed for no reason. Obviously, the narrative reason was that, Subaru panicked and then he had to give an answer that wasn't his real fucking name. And obviously it plays into the illegitimate son plotline, but the name Natsumi Schwartz has significance to Subaru's character. And obviously, of course, from Arc 6, the name Natsuki Subaru has significance for Subaru. So, Natsuki Subaru, the guy who, he thinks can't accomplish anything on his own, mixed with Natsumi Schwartz, this ideal, this mask of confidence that he wears, they're clashing in their two combined identities. So I do think that's neat. And then there's Todd. Oh, no one's doing it like him. There is some concern because what was it? It was something to do with him. Oh, that's right. He could detect Subaru's smell, and he knew that the cursed tool was in Gustav's body. And so there is some concern that Tappei is going to be like, haha, Todd isn't some normal dude. And that would be very upsetting. Which perhaps we'll find out about in this chapter too. I don't know. But we have finally made it to the chapter. And thank you to Garkar, I believe I'm saying his name correctly. I'm pretty sure I asked him a while ago. Garkar fixed the chapter title, because apparently the initial chapter title was just Wakateru. Oh, well, the initial title was apparently I Know, but then it was flipped. And also, apparently he did the original translation for this chapter, which is sick. Common Fanta L. Is it not I Know anymore? In the PDF version, I guess it's Wakateru. Yeah, because the original chapter title is I Know. And the PDFs and stuff like to do the little English to Japanese flip to, make it clear when Subaru or Al are speaking English. So they did it for the chapter title too, which is a little unnecessary in my opinion, but I understand the logic that went into it. $10K, true. Even Fanta thinks Wakateru is cringe, but still did it anyway. Well, I don't know then. I don't know what to tell him then. I guess we just did it for consistency then. I mean, that makes sense. I still don't like it, but it makes sense. How long has Zorba's been a feature of your live streams? Since he was born. Well, not really. A year after he was born. Yeah, we hit 10,000 subs 2 days ago, which is insane. I personally don't mind having Otsuka art in the PDS because I do want to see the series official art. I'll just look at the Roka art in my own time, right? Zorbus reveal for 20k? Does he know? What about the dog in my profile? That's just some dog, I don't know. Unfortunately, the dog has become my brand, so I can never change it. So, we're living with the dog. Yes, I got that dog in him, true. Dog isn't you? Believe it or not, no. What the dog doing? Carrying a burrito in his mouth. Alright, chat. Are we ready to read Arc 7, Chapter 75? Hyphen, I know. Since this is an Arc 7 livestream, it's safe to talk about everything in previous arcs without worrying about spoiling people, right? Yeah, everything before this is fair game, okay? Do I have this right? Okay, I do. Alright, chat. What about the recent arcade chapter? Yeah, I'll read that on stream too. Did he post when he's posting the next phase to YouTube? Ideally, next Sunday, but we'll see. Because phase 5 is going to be a very large video, probably. Lot to say, a lot to talk about. Okay. In that wretchedly hopeless scene, such a cheerful voice and smile were terribly out of place. It was evident at first glance that his kimono was violently smoldering, and despite the left half of his face also having been scorched black, Cecilus's attitude as he gazed at Subaru was the same as it had always been. That was far too abnormal. Oh wait, that reminds me real quick, hang on. I gotta make sure I actually, like, take notes. Lest I forget the things that happened in this chapter. Okay. It was not just him. Right now, those who remained alive upon this island, all of them, were abnormal beings. The people who were upright, all of them had certainly died already. Cecilus right in front of him, Todd pursuing him, Arakia on her killing spree, and Subaru, the great sinner. Every single one of them, because they were not upright, but instead shameless people, they had been able to survive like this. That was why. Ceci. Fuck you, Fantanium bitch. I changed your English flip back to the original title, Garkar. Wow. From the looks of things, it seems like you've also had a considerably hard time. On that note, Lizardman-san's also dead, and at this rate, the little deer girl and your other friends from your unit are all going to be annihilated, won't they? Oh, is it possible you've yet to realize that he died? Through the tremors of the eyeballs of a trembling Subaru, Cecilus was reading through all of his heartfelt thoughts. Right then, outrage surged forth. Despite seemingly reading Subaru's heart like that, why was he completely unable to sympathize with Subaru's current feelings? It's because he's a fucking freak, bro. Hien had died, having been told that just what would become of Subaru's feelings, and just why. Just why would he speak of that death so frivolously? Oh. Subaru's getting angry. He really died, you know. Absolutely and irrevocably. Only the face he died with wasn't too bad. Even though he died. Are you thinking it doesn't matter whether it was good or bad? That seems to just be a difference in opinion, then. If they had a good way of living, then they'd also had a good way of dying. It's rather tactless for us listeners to butt in with how we feel about it, so let's stop at that. Lizard Man had a good death. That face of his is proof of that, you know. It's the face of having died after fulfilling one's duty. I also want to go out like this. Subaru did not say a single thing to Cecilis, who incessantly spewed his nonsense. He had not been controlled by those words. Rather, he thought them to be meaningless. He had not seen the visage Hyen had made upon his demise, so it was utterly unthinkable that he could comprehend Cecilis. That was why there was not even a fragment of a reason for Subaru to engage with this point. Well then, though we happened upon each other here and have been blathering on, in truth, I'm actually quite busy right now. I'm in the middle of a fantastic showdown with the half-naked woman who's been rampaging around the island. Just win. Just like, yell at her loud enough, and then you'll win. Stretching his crooked back with a jerk, Cecilis continued to speak as he pleased. The person who had been mentioned in conversation, Subaru knew it to be Arakia without even needing to think. Arakia had commenced a massacre upon being told to do so by Todd. Todd's lack of outstanding fighting strength had been his only good aspect. But that had disappeared once paired with her, making him an impeccable evil. He imagined he would not lay eyes on her again after she had begun turning the gladiators' heads into water balloons, but it seemed like the one who had been keeping her in check was Cecilis. Arakia beating the fuck out of a kid? Apparently not enough, bro. Even with the latter weakened, could it be that a Divine General was being suppressed by a fellow Divine General? But as you can see, I'm in the middle of getting cooked in a close fight. Well, I'm beat. I'm beat. Seems like she's here. The person who can compete with me toe-to-toe, that is. Though, I'd always thought that, without a doubt, the path to reach the Heavenly Sword was something that had to be climbed on one's own. Sorry, him saying he's getting cooked made me laugh. Why? Pardon? What was that? Why does it seem like you're enjoying this? Quite literally, at the end of the agonizing struggle that had seemed to wring out his soul, the venting of his anger rushed forth from his mouth. Indeed, it was just him venting his anger in this hellish situation. On this island were Waits, Tanza, Idra, and Hyen, and just about everyone had died. Cecilis' smile was revolting. Wow. You know, chat, last night, when I was thinking about, like, Chapter 73 and stuff, I was like, I don't know how Saber's gonna get out of this. I totally forgot that Cecilis existed. You guys might have seen it in the live vlog, where I was like, damn, I just remember Cecilis exists. You've got cause and effect backwards. I'm not smiling because it's enjoyable, I'm smiling to make the situation of this play more enjoyable. Damn. You did the same thing with Tanza? True. In this cruel world, everyone's in pursuit of their own ideal happiness. The myriads of different people in existence, the philosophies they each follow, that pursuit remains constant in all of them. But whoever it may be, they have to herald a faith that suits them. Thus, the faith I herald is the reason behind this way of being. Interesting. Sorry, I'm just writing this down. Gonna try and, you know, bring out any drop of characterization Cecilis might actually have. While he spoke, Cecilius touched his scorched left cheek with his right hand. Though his tattered and charred skin was peeling and flaking away, even in the midst of seemingly unimaginable pain, his smile did not deteriorate. Congrats on 10k again. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. You probably shouldn't be here, bro. That's all I'm saying. You probably shouldn't be here. Without relying on cheap tricks like not feeling pain, Cecilius kept on smiling. I'm the leading actor of this world, therefore, I'm not going to adhere closely to the script, but instead the script will adhere closely to me. If you ask me why I smile, then that will be my response. Damn. I don't know if you realize the positive impact you have on people. Good luck to you, bro. Keep on the grind. Wish you the best. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. For whose sake do I laugh for? It's for my own sake. May it be so that the observers in the heavens above never feel any shame whenever they might look at me. Well, Basu, what kind of faith do you herald? That was Cecilius' philosophy for maintaining his smile while half of his body was smoldering. That was something Subaru could not comprehend in the slightest. But as if something were making him hesitate to kick Cecilius for relying on his emotions, he had felt something akin to that peculiar faith. Observers. Cecilius had once spoken of the same thing before. That someone, or rather something, of an ethereal nature had been observing them. That seemed like what he had wanted to say. Even in the situation they were in, he staunchly stuck to that recitation of his. So certainly, nobody would be able to bend it. That was why... Would you look at that? Seems the intermission's over. As he said that, even when witnessing Arakia's figure descend, coming from the passage of the tower stratum, his smile did not vanish. If you ever hear me stop talking, it's because I'm taking this down for future reference. Surely nobody among the gladiators would have stood a chance against Arakia. Her whole body clad in flame, and yet the wooden branch in her hand had snapped. And she had lost the eye patch that concealed one of her eyes. Oh shit, dude. Loathing the fact that she was able to see with the eye under that eye patch, Arakia was concealing her left eye with her vacant hand, and her face, which had been emotionless in the past, was contorted, expressing utterly complex emotions. Cecilius. Clenching her teeth as she glared at Cecilius, the woman's pupils flickered with turmoil and ire. Having sprouted from her back, wings of flame danced. The force of their blaze wavered as if in tandem with her emotions, immolating, continuing to permeate the passage with terrific heat. Jesus Christ. That's like the rawest thing she's ever done. I mean, the bar is in hell, but, you know. The scent of burning was in the air, the woman proceeding to incinerate everything encompassing her surroundings. The walls and floor of the passage, the candlesticks and doors, and even Hyen's collapsed remains. Oh, that's brutal. If we all burned to death here, together, would that be proper recompense for the face he died with? That was a pretty uncharacteristic thing for me to say. By all means, do as you wish. Feel free to either stay or leave. Seeing bits and pieces of Hyen's body catch fire, Subaru's expression changed as Cecilius' voice fell upon him. Firmly, Subaru put his arm to the floor, and little by little, tearing his body away from the ground as it began to heat up, he stood up. His head was aching, his blood was lacking, his chest felt like it was overcome with feelings of powerlessness. Even so, just why was Subaru still standing? He would neither burn to death here, nor would he bite down on the drug placed behind his molar. Just why? Then, till we meet again in this life. The reason why he had started sprinting unbeknownst to him, Subaru turned his back on the flaming passage. Running, limping, he was running at a far too slow a pace. Faster. If only he had been able to surpass the speed. Would he not have been able to finish things without letting them, Idra and Hyen, Whites and Tanza, die? And while he lamented such things, Subaru still continued to run away. Damn. Subaru's going through it. Zorbus is licking his legs. Zorbus is enthralled. Now let us witness the battle of two jobbers. Here we go. Well now, Basu's disappeared as well, huh? Dear me, seems like I'm hated an awful lot. Feeling the presence of the faltering spirit grow distant, batting one eye shut, Cecilius produced a wry smile. The woman clad in flames cast him an intense glare. He understood that he himself was the target of her ire, yet he did not quite understand what the source of said ire was. Oh, that's right. Because you're a dumbass baby now. Arakia's character design hate is completely overblown. It's fine compared to the majority of shit we see in anime. No, it's garbage. Only he felt that it was neither his opposition nor him interrupting her slaughter of the gladiators that had originated that rage. Perhaps there were other reasons beyond that. However, in general, I do have the special skill of angering the people I come into contact with, but as usual in those situations, I don't have the faintest clue why. For how long will you keep joking around? I'm joking around, huh? May I go as far as to ask what part exactly am I joking around about? That appearance, just what is it? Those red eyes glaring at him, his appearance had been pointed out. She had asked what was up with it, though it had been none other than her who had cooked him until he was seared, but on only but one side. But that's not what you mean, is it? Is it possible that maybe you and I happen to know each other? So, do people not, like how well known is Olbart's authority that even Arakia... I mean, Arakia should know better, right? I guess not. I'm really not, but that being said, since I can't provide any evidence for you to believe me, I can do nothing but insist and insist on it. However, I see. If I think about it that way, it feels like many things make sense. Did I say authority? I didn't mean it. If I said authority, I said it on accident. I'm probably meant to say power. Sorry, the word authority has been used a lot in this arc, so I got authorities on the mind. I mean, I get it as a secret shinobi technique, but like, I don't know. I figured somebody would know about it. While he spoke, Cecilius whirled around an extended finger on his right hand and nodded as he spun the eye patch he had stolen from her in the midst of battle. Oh, he yoinked it. What a jackass. His memories up until the uproar on the Gladiator Island were terribly unclear. That it was in accordance with what Subaru had asked before, this was fact. That he had not paid much heed to it was also fact. Nonetheless, just when he had thought that some of those were present, the woman before his eyes had made her entrance, her face looking as if she knew him. Yeah, it's true, Arakia. Arakia doesn't know much. If that woman were present within his vanished memories, he felt that somewhat too good to be true. If she was capable of this much, she had expectations, or he had expectations of what could happen, on the path to reach the heavenly sword. Always like this. No one will tell me anything. Oh yeah? Well, I guess she doesn't know. Yeah, there we go. I guess you don't know fucking shit, huh? Oh? However, in front of Cecilius as he pondered over, as the woman's voice trembled with frustration, powerful bitterness began mixing in with her turmoil and fury. Wow, new weather satellite reveals spectacular images of Earth. Thank you, phone. Um, from red to blue, the flames upon her back shifted in hue. Oh shit, dude, she's Dobby? What the fuck? Stole his power bar for bar? The more angry she gets, the stronger the fire is? Wow. As that graceful transfiguration was brought about, the breath she took seemed strained. Arakia's Dance. The day that I see a chapter title called Arakia's Dance, that is the day I skip a ReZero chapter. The princess, His Excellency as well, are both hiding. I was always... Are you having painful thoughts about having been left behind? As if that brief comment had somehow hit bullseye, her facial expression stiffened. Witnessing those red eyes wavering as if a deep emotion had throbbed from the faded beyond, ultimately, even if said deep emotion had not throbbed, her relation to him was something he was unsure of. Bro, don't spoil the new Arcade chapter title. My bad. Well, it'd be strange for you to try killing me if we had a good relationship, so surely it was a rather harsh relationship. That lines up with the situation perfectly. Cecilus. The audience will get bored from such long-winded dialogue. It's about time we get this stage moving. Unfortunately, I won't be able to give you any answers whatsoever, but some small weight may be removed from your chest. Slowly concealing the aching half of his body, grasping the spinning eye patch tightly, he came to face her. Thereupon ending the conversation, his attitude was that of wishing for the conversation to not enter the realm of unnecessary words. Then the woman, after remaining silent for a while, slowly lowered her left hand. Beyond that was a red eye bereft of all light. Meeting its gaze with his own eyes, Cecilus produced a wry smile. Feel free to go all out. Every single time, you only cook your fried eggs on one side. What the fuck? Did something slip out just now? Cecilus cocked his head, wondering about the words that had left his mouth as if by reflex. That egg line is the only reason they wanted you to read Sword Identity? There is no fucking way. Albeit, it seemed that it spurred her ire further. Furiously, the sprouting blue flames proceeded to incinerate the lower stratum of the island as they rose. Devoid of the leisure to concern himself with his surroundings, as he plunged into the inferno, Cecilus Segment himself became blue lightning. I don't know why, I just assumed the last name was going to be there, so I just ad-libbed that shit. I just thought it was going to be there. I'm going to add that part to the video anyway, so whatever. Bro started waffling. It hit better, I'm not gonna lie. He could finally creep into C tier. Alright. Oh, here we go. We're back to Subaru, baby. Let's go. Feeling the heat of the inferno on his back, Subaru frantically fled from the lower stratum. Fled, indeed, he was fleeing. Not resisting, nor struggling, but fleeing. Oh, this is gonna cook, isn't it? Oh. There's just a certain way. There's a certain way that, like, Tape will start a section, you know what I mean? Where you're like, oh, here it comes. You know what I mean? Like, dialogue like this, that dives so deep into, like, the motivation of somebody doing something, that's how you know it's about to go off. It's like, he fled. He was fleeing, not resisting, not struggling, but fleeing. That's how you know. You know what you know what I mean? That it had been a strategic withdrawal or a valiant escape in order to follow up next time. He could not make those excuses. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Oh my god. I'm writing every single line down, dude. After all, he had nothing at all to follow up with beyond this point. Everybody had died. There was no getting anyone back anymore. Although Waits and the others had staked their lives so he could escape, he was unable to do anything whatsoever. Everything and anything, his intention had been to succeed in both. In reality, had intended, by overcoming Sparka on 2 occasions, helping out the comrades of his unit as well as Hyene's comrades, to surmount every hardship. Oh. To begin with, Subaru had died many times. Even if he died, as long as he had the chance to do everything over, it would turn out well. Or it would turn out well. Thus, it can no longer turn out well. If he really were a capable person, he should have made everything turn out well, dying not even a single time. I'm sorry, chat. I'm gonna be typing a lot. Just as though he were that dreadful existence. Just as though he were Todd Fang, dude. Oh. Without even possessing the authority to start over through death, he had the capability to surmount every situation through his power. Dude. Todd Kino, dude. Oh. Lacking any outstanding fighting strength, he was identical to Subaru. So then why was Subaru unable to do the same things as Todd? Oh my god, here we go, dude. Oh, here we go, dude. Finally getting the in-depth dive of Subaru and Todd, maybe, from, like, his perspective. Oh, man. Since he could not do those things, Subaru had ended up killing a great number of people. Rushing out of the island's lower stratum, just as he felt the open air, his vexation swelled unbearably. Bashing the outer wall he leaned against, Subaru cursed himself for his own weakness. His small fist, his frail body, his non-functioning mind, his useless authority. Were he to start enumerating the reasons for his defeat, what came to mind was unending. Rather, just what did he, this shitty brat with scary eyes, possess? Oh, man. His useless authority is a fucking insane line. Subaru, ceasing his footsteps in regret and cursing himself, stifled a scream from his throat at the unexpected sound. Oh shit. A sound at this place, his whole body trembled violently as he imagined the worst possible thing. Could Todd, who Idra had desperately tried to fend off, have caught up to him? However, Schwartz. Tanza? Oh, man, dude. Tanza's still alive? Probably barely. Did my music just fucking pause? You keep playing now. Okay, there we go. As the sound of the hoarse voice continued, Subaru perceived a shock, although it had not been one of dread. Calling out to Subaru through feeble breaths was the one who had been thrown out of the passage by Todd's hand, whose safety he had been uncertain of thereafter, Tanza. RBD is useless if you're dumb? You should try reading Phase 6. This PDF doesn't have the illustrations? No, it does. The girl's entire body was drenched as it limped, and having discarded her kimono, she was dressed in her white juban. She was in a battered condition, with one of her two horns sprouting from her head having been broken off. Oh. Jesus, dude. Schwartz, thank goodness, you're alright. As her gentle eyes wavered with relief, Subaru felt an agonizing sensation stemming from the bottom of his heart. Upon seeing the soaked girl, he understood that she had been thrown into the lake from the upper stratum. The lake was inhabited by aquatic, savage witch beasts, her fractured horns serving as proof that she should not be glossed over as anything trivial. It was a figure one would expect to cling to an adult, crying out, "It hurts, it's painful, help me." And yet Tanza had found Subaru, letting out a thank goodness with a content look. This Natsuki Subaru, who could not do anything at all, finding him. And it happened the moment he had that thought. Oh no. Okay, hang on. I'm trying to get my thoughts in order. And it happened the moment he had that thought. The strength in his legs sapping away, Subaru sank to the floor where he stood. The thread of tension snapped. The insides of his head, which had only been ranting and raving, swiftly grew silent. That he had become relieved upon coming face to face with the living Tanza was not what had happened. Neither had he somehow gotten a sense of accomplishment by finding a breakthrough solution, nor had he shaken off his fear directed to Todd. Merely, he had run out of patience with himself. Schwartz? Seeing Subaru fall to his knees, Tanza ran towards him, her expression a changed one. The way she dashed was odd. Perhaps she had sustained an injury to her leg. Looking closely, he could see that the sides of her drenched white juban were slowly being dyed red. Despite having sustained a wound seemingly of awfully immense pain, she was still worrying about Subaru. When he realized he could not live up to any of Tanza's expectations, he lost all strength. Resignation had overwhelmed his inner heart. I'm gonna assume that there are people out there that interpret Al's speech to Subaru as a good thing, by the way. It was neither pain nor fear. That which dealt despair to Natsuki Subaru was not something as easy to understand as hardship. He had been unable to meet the expectations, the wishes placed upon him. That, above everything else, was what brought Subaru Natsuki despair. A despair that had become deadly poison to him. Schwartz, compose yourself. The others, Idra and Hyen. Arriving at his side, Tanza touched Subaru's shoulders as she fret over the two people who were not present. She had not called out White's name. That was a matter of course. Tanza, too, had witnessed White's be slain through her very eyes. Then, regarding the two people not present here as well, she had surely felt a bad premonition. That premonition was accurate to a hopeless extent. The two of them, they died. Both Idra and Hain protected me. Everyone had died. It was not just that he had not been able to save them, but they had saved him. Whites, Idra, and Hain, all three of them had perished while protecting Subaru. That Tanza was close to death was also because she had attempted to defend an immobile Subaru. Everyone dying was Subaru's fault. Everyone being killed was also Subaru's fault. The horrible tragedy that had befallen the Gladiator Island, all of it had been Natsuki Subaru's fault. And then he's gonna think, I bet he's gonna think about Chaos Flame. I mean, he doesn't know exactly what happened, but he's gonna think that was his fault. And then he's gonna think of Garal as his fault. He's gonna think of all this as his fault. Hang on, I gotta write. God. Damn. This page hits. Schwartz, let us leave this place at once. We must hide somewhere. Even if we hide, it's pointless. No matter what, we'll be found immediately. Even so, shall you do nothing at all? And wait like this until you are killed? Then for what purpose did everyone in our unit lose their lives? Oof. He's not gonna like that one. Shaking her head side to side, Tanza let out a frustrated cry directed at Subaru, still unmoving. Her tearful appeal, however, far from kindling Subaru's heart, only brought about a cold understanding. Indeed, Subaru, for whose safety the three had staked their lives, was utterly, completely useless. In other words, he had let the three of them die in vain. Because all of them had tried to protect Subaru. He had not been capable of living up to their expectations, even though he had gone as far as having lied to them, deceived them. It would have been better had they not believed that lie, had he been unable to deceive them to the end of the end, or had there been no gain for Subaru in telling that lie. If they had not believed such a lie, had that been the case, then the three of them would not have tried to die in Subaru's stead. It had not been for the Emperor Child's sake, nor for Natsuki Schwartz, but for Natsuki Subaru's, that they would never come to know. And now that he thought about it, there was another person whom he had deceived with the same lie. Schwartz, if you collapse here, everything. All of it was a lie, Tanza. Me being the illegitimate child of the Emperor, that's a downright lie. I'm the child of the praiseworthy, incredible, and cool dad, but I'm nothing of the sort of a child of the Emperor. Casting his gaze down, Subaru willingly confessed that he had carelessly tried to rely on that lie and their false expectations. If only he had done this sooner. No, he should not have told such a lie to begin with. As her already round eyes widened further, Tanza was rendered speechless due to Subaru's admission. That was natural. Given the situation, to think he would tell a lie made Subaru himself want to curse his own self. Having been deceived, it would not be strange in the slightest for the girl to surrender herself to anger. Rather, even if he were to be killed by Tanza's hand, that was something unavoidable. The same went for everyone else as well. The chance to exact rightful punishment on the deceitful Subaru had been lost by those he had deceived. So, even if Tanza were to do that... Schwartz. Quickly, let us move from here. I shall carry you upon my back. Huh? Subaru, who had shut his eyes in preparation for the fact that whatever came out from her mouth would be only natural, lifted his head upon hearing Tanza's words. Pursing her thin lips, Tanza tried to pull on Subaru's arm. Earnestly, she attempted to take Subaru upon her back and get out of this place. A weight leaked out through his voice at that development. I mean, bro, she's got other things to worry about right now. Like, he had conveyed everything, every single thing. He had said it had been a lie. You didn't hear me, did you? I'm not the illegitimate child of His Excellency the Emperor. I heard you. We will address that later. It'll be just as shit later, won't it? I'm unrelated to the Emperor, and as such, right now, something like a reason to save me is... non-existent. For pretending that something that did not exist actually did had been Subaru's sin. That was the very thing that had taken the lives of those three away. Schwartz, is that truly what you believe? Having shaken off the small hands touching his shoulders, Subaru ceased his movement. In front of him, Tanza, crouching, was looking straight into Subaru's eyes with intent. Unable to take his eyes off her, he struggled in understanding the meaning of the words she had stated towards him. Regardless of what she thought, everything, all of it, was just as he had said. Waits, Idra, Hyane, the reason everyone put their lives on the line to protect you, Schwartz, was all because of the falsehoods you spoke? Do you truly believe that? After all, I said I was the Emperor's child. Myself and everyone else, all of us believed it. Nevertheless, those three, those people, a scaredy cat, a coward, and a liar, do you think they would wager their lives out of loyalty and patriotism to the Empire? True! If Subaru were the illegitimate child of the Emperor, he would have been known as an Imperial Prince. That was why, for those three, as people of the Empire, it would have been only natural for them to try and protect Subaru, but once again, he slowly digested Tanza's words, pondered them over. As a scaredy cat, Hyane had tried to run away so he could save himself. As a coward, Waits had struggled to survive by outmaneuvering those around him. As a liar, Idra had tried to make himself look bigger so as to be able to control everyone. And yet... They all died doing something similar. You know what I mean? Like, they all died doing something similar, but in a recontextualizing way. You know what I mean? Like, Hyane died running, but he wasn't running as a coward. He was running to save someone, right? Waits died struggling to outmaneuver Todd. But it wasn't out of cowardice, it was to save Subaru. And Idra tried to make himself look bigger, you know. He did get fucked. But it wasn't to control anyone, it was to save someone. I like that. That's cute. It's a shame they're all dead. Not one of them felt like someone he would get along with. Assuredly, the three of them had held similar feelings. Despite that, in the end, those three had staked their lives, standing to defend Subaru, protected him, allowed him to escape. Why had it been so? Because the three of them had believed Subaru to be the illegitimate child of the Emperor. Though, it was possible that, if it had not been the case, just why? It is because, Schwartz, you actually got close to those three. Damn. You engaged in actual conversations with them, answered them, and attempted to actually come to an understanding with them. By doing that, Schwartz, you became close to everyone. His understanding lacking, as Subaru voiced that question, Tanza spoke as she looked into his eyes. What had Subaru done? Why had those three tried to save Subaru? She was trying to inform him as to the answer. Even so, Subaru did not comprehend the meaning of what Tanza was saying. After all, that kind of thing, it's natural. I haven't done anything even remotely special. Conversing with the companions he had been cooperating with and coming to understand them had only been natural to him. Things that he was unable to do certainly existed, things that he wanted to do but could not, but doing something so natural with everybody, getting close to them, that was not such an extraordinary thing. Personally, I understand how they all felt. I too was once rescued by Yorna. I was able to grow close to her. Without a doubt, it was the same for those three, with how they felt about you. Nonetheless, there was meaning in them staking their lives on just that. There are times when one is made to feel so. Unfair. Those words had been unfair. Had she only had her experience with Subaru, it would be impossible for Tanza to say such a thing to his face, but Tanza spoke of her experience on what she had received from Yorna. Yorna Mishigure, the Demon City's mistress, a city where many tribes lived. As far as Subaru knew, she was the kindest woman in the Empire. Putting him on the same level as Yorna, what an absurd proposition. Even disrespect had its limits. Damn. That is a strong way to view it. Tanza had appraised Subaru far too highly. However, for those three, for Hyen and Waits and Idra, just how had it been? In all likelihood, Subaru knew more about those three than they had thought. Hyen's self-hatred, Waits' false accusations, Idra's downfall, he knew about all of those. He knew that having gone through tough times, having gone through miserable times, having been unable to rely on anyone, they had all been sent to this island. He had not given much thought to that, because surely all three would also have had their chances. And despite him having thought that they would die here, and to think that would be their end, I wanted to save everyone. You have saved them, to the extent that they would stake their lives in order to protect you, Schwartz. Damn. No, you're wrong. It's not like that. By some chance, perhaps it was just as Tanza said. By some possibility, more than Subaru had believed, those three had perhaps thought of Subaru as their comrade. Subaru had possibly, by some chance, saved the hearts of those three. But just their hearts was not enough. It would be unthinkable for him to merely save their hearts and leave it at that. What he had wanted to save was everything. Subaru wished, for those who had kindly taken his side, for those who had treated him well, for everyone to have their hearts and bodies alike be saved by his own self. Were he unable to do so, then he would be no son of Natsuki Kenny. No. I hate it. With him hopelessly bawling out, with everything in his surrounding dying out, this world was ending. Before he knew it, the Gladiator Island had been engulfed in black smoke, burning in spite of being an island floating atop a lake, burning, its tongues of flame spreading, bringing the lives carried within it to an end. I won't permit anything of the sort. I don't want to allow anything of the sort. I don't want my knees to buckle because of an end like this, unable to save everyone. I can't accept an ending like this, with everyone sacrificing their lives. I cannot accept it. Damn. Okay, lot going on here, hang on. Oh man, Satel's coming, bro. Oh boy. Oh wait, I read this wrong. Never mind. I, I don't know why. I thought this said the Gladiator Island was engulfed in purple smoke, and then I looked at it again to type in the notes, and it said black smoke. Okay, never mind. God damn it. Okay, never mind. I don't know what's happening. God damn it. Okay, now I'm just stun locked. Fuck. Okay, what was I rating? That's right. Just read, goddammit? No. Now that you said that, I'm actually not gonna read. I don't want to lose to you. Oh. Oh. Sorry. I know who the... Oh. He's here. I don't really care about stuff like winning or losing, though. From behind the ascending black smoke, tapping his shoulder with the axe in his hand, the man responded as he tilted his head. Oh. Todd. It's Shigeo Kageyama. Dude. Todd needs like a fucking pay raise for this phase, dude. Holy shit, man. He's not getting paid enough to be here. If this is a final confrontation scene between Todd and Subaru, we will be seated, okay? We will be seated. For but a moment, Subaru had mistaken the man, who had made his appearance with relaxation, as he carried a bloodstained axe on his shoulder, for someone else. Missing his trademark bandana, his orange hair hanging down. Oh, there's gotta be fan art of that. I gotta see him with his hair down, bro. He lent a vastly different impression from the man Subaru was acquainted with. However, that pair of eyes, those green irises, the malice therein unable to be fully concealed, could not quite falsify his identity. There is? I gotta see it. After the stream, someone's gotta send it to me. There is so much fan art for this chapter. Todd. You sure have the devil's luck. Even when I was chasing you, it took some time to catch up to you since the passageway was on fire. I told Arakia to put her water to use, but somehow it seems like Arakia's got her hands full. She's useless at the times that are actually important. Get her. Saying that with bluntness and annoyance, Todd, partly due to his lowered hair, had no hint of positivity. The fabricated aura of a friendly young man from their first meeting had evaporated, and what was present now was only a chilly thirst for violence. Perhaps even that violence was also a misunderstanding on Subaru's part, and was possibly another fabrication. He was a man who would tell only the needed lies if push came to shove, utilizing those around him, a fabrication as was typical of Todd. Please, refrain from coming any closer than that. Tanza, you don't got the sauce, okay? Glowering at Todd, as he tried to take a step forward, Tanza picked up a nearby rock. Oh shit, she's got the rock! With the arm strength Tanza possessed, power unthinkable for a child, then even an ordinary stone would be enough as a lethal weapon when thrown. In the case Todd was the opponent, however, Subaru did not feel like a rock would have... Subaru did not feel like a rock would not have any usefulness beyond being a rock. And in fact, Todd was no coward, instead narrowing his eyes. Even though you fell in the lake, you're quite stubborn, little miss. Are you the same as that lot from earlier? If you are referring to everyone from the unit. That's a troublesome look in your eyes. I also don't intend on underestimating just how dangerous that desperation is. If I did, it'd be troublesome, as we'd render each other unable to move. Damn. As he stated that, Todd ran his hand through his hair. Transmitted from that gesture, was that the removal of his bandana had been an achievement left behind by Idra. Oh, great job, Idra. Let's go. It was not that he had been unable to defeat Todd, nor was it that he had injured Todd. It was just that he had snatched Todd's bandana away. And that notwithstanding, because Idra had carried out a single retaliation, Todd was exercising caution towards Subaru and Tanza. Wow. He got his fucking bandana snatched and he's like, alright, now we're serious. God, dude. Todd is so cool. What the fuck? What? Just what is it exactly you desire? Question mark? I just want to go home to my fiancé. Having brought his legs to a halt, that was Todd's reply to Tanza's question. Devoid of any apparent hint of jest or sarcasm, Todd vocalized his desire plenty. He had just wanted to go home. That was the sole thing he desired. That was what Todd had declared. Perhaps, then, that had not been a lie of any sort. Tanza, you don't need to speak to him anymore. The one to speak to him will be me. Pulling Tanza back, who had cast Todd a stern look, Subaru silently trained his gaze on him. With the pair of tattered children before him, Todd shrugged his shoulders. I've got nothing to talk about, boy. I'll keep you company as you look for an opening. Or could it be you're scared of a kid who's this close to death? Sure is scary. A brat still trying to provoke me despite the situation. Being scared is unavoidable. Not letting himself be provoked in the slightest, nor relaxing even a shred of his vigilance, he would not cut corners even if his opponent was a child. In truth, against an opponent troublesome to no end, he thought it only natural to be driven to a corner like this. though he also considered something else. Todd was someone who cautiously used his wits and did not overestimate his own ability. Such a way of doing things was, you're someone who tries to manage everything all on your own. Oh. It's impossible to do everything. I know the extent of my own ability. Although you came alongside Arakia as comrades, you really don't trust her in the slightest. He could not feel any consideration towards Arakia in Todd's attitude. Not because he was not confident in Arakia's strength, nor because he believed that there was no way she would lose, but rather because, regardless of her strength or weakness, Todd simply did not care about Arakia. I'm really hoping this isn't like the final confrontation, you know what I mean? Like, I hope Todd, like, doesn't die here or something. I'd be so fucking sad if Todd died. I would fall to my fucking knees in a Walmart parking lot. Blame the stars, yeah. He'll just die on a side story. Shut the fuck up. Sorry, I have a lot to write. Because this line is insane. In a good way, I mean. And that was unrestricted to just Arakia. That way of thought applied to everything in Todd's vicinity. That was why his thoughts, his actions, his ideals, all were fulfilled entirely by his own self. I don't want to lose to a guy of that sort. It's not about winning or losing. I don't particularly mind. It's fine if you win, as long as you die. My defeat won't just be my defeat. It'll be Tanza's, Hyene's, White's, Idra's, everyone in the unit's defeat. That was absolutely loathsome. Altogether, Subaru and the others had fought, they had resisted, and they were headed towards victory, as a unit. That was why they would win. With everyone, he would go and win. Kneeling, his body close to death, Subaru put a hand on his own chest. Though Todd scowled at those words, he did not heedlessly shift his vigilance away from Tanza. Naturally, were Subaru to attempt any discernible action, Todd would surely move to impede him. I'm sorry, my eyes just caught the line below. Though, as Subaru remained kneeling on the spot, he did not move. He would not move. Todd. And he had no need to move. There was just one thing he had to say. I can return by death. Powering through his slight hesitation, Subaru spoke so. Prepared for what would happen should he say that. With his hands still upon his own chest, Subaru clearly spoke those words. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, hang on. Okay, we're typing. Hang on, we're typing. Oh man. This is so fucking fire, just so you guys know. No way. Wait, no fucking way nothing happened. Oh my god, dude. I did not expect that on the page turn. What the fuck? No fucking way. Oh, he said it, and Todd's just like, what? Dude, there's something so funny about Todd being the first person he ever, like, tells. That's so funny. The first person he could ever tell is Todd, and he's just like, huh? The fuck are you talking about? Oh, man. Excluding a kid, no, sorry, I meant people, not demons. After an instant of nothing, because of Subaru's words, Todd wrinkled his brow. That's so fucked up, man. Todd's is like, huh? What the fuck are you talking about? I can't, dude, that's so crazy. I'm sorry, I'm like a little stun locked that he like literally just said I can return by death and nothing happened. Fuck. James, just throw the rock. Yeah, just... Tom's like, quick, while he's distracted, throw the rock now and just fucking... just kill him. Unable to grasp the meaning of those words, Tonzo returns signs of doubt all the same. From the reaction of those two, and from the lack of pain hailing from his chest, Subaru discerned the origin of this discrepancy. Although his body had shrunk, he could not forget the memories of agony. Were he to speak of that, a disaster should, without fail, befall Subaru. Unbearable pain would be bestowed upon him as punishment for breaking the taboo, by the black shadows that governed the world of stopped time. That did not arrive. For what reason? The witch had lost sight of Subaru. At the tower of the Crimson Lapis Castle, during the Sparka on the Gladiator Island, during the massacre triggered by Todd, a discrepancy had accompanied the spirals of death that had occurred at every single one of those scenes. Instinctively, unconsciously, Subaru had understood that. I have been waiting for this for fucking so long. I have been waiting for this fucking payoff, dude. Akin to how a bird would not forget how to fly, akin to how a fish would not forget how to swim, Natsuki Subaru would not forget how to use his own authority. Was being sent to the Vlakian Empire the reason? Was the onwards march of infantilization the reason? Hang on, the music fucking stopped again. God damn it. Before this, way before this, he could have noticed it. Even during Sparka, even while the massacre was ongoing, the moment the unleashed gladiator beasts, the witch beasts, did not rush towards Subaru, It was made certain that he had been parted from the witch's hands. Oh, dude, I was thinking about that too. I was thinking, like, the witch beast should be targeting Subaru, like, regardless, right? Even before Todd threw the head at him. But there was so much other stuff going on, I just didn't even... I didn't even, like, keep it in my brain, you know? Henceforth, he shouted, I can return by death. I can return by death. Return by death. You understand? Return by death. Return by death was something he must not reveal to anyone. Because accompanying it was a penalty of unbearable pain, and beyond that, there was a possibility that it could directly lead to despair akin to one's heart cracking, I mean. To sow the life of those listening by abusing that mechanism, he did not expect anything of the sort. He did not stop it from reaching Todd's ears either. He even bestowed Todd with information he did not want him to hear. However, the one he truly wanted to hear it was not Todd, nor was it anyone else on the island. Oh, he wants to tell him, man. Yeah, I mean, I can return by death. Raising his eyes to the heavens. Oh, don't say observers, please. I can't handle it right now. Don't say observers. I can't handle it right now. Raising his eyes to the heavens, Subaru projected his voice towards the same overcast skies black smoke was ascending to. With his body in tatters, the reverberation of his loud voice brought pain to his viscera. He was near death. Nevertheless, Subaru's resolve was settled, for the pain he wished for was nothing of this sort. May it be so the observers did not feel shame. Those were the rambling words left behind by Cecilius. Oh... It was unlikely that Subaru and Cecilius had been envisioning the same thing. In the first place, there was a high probability that it had been merely been one of Cecilius' thoughtless remarks, yet those thoughtless remarks had aided him in realizing. Similar to the observer Cecilius was aware of, there was something that was supposedly observing Subaru. That existence, which was supposedly observing Subaru, were it watching over Subaru even now, without parting from him, then these loops, bereft of hope, bereft of love, would not come to pass. I can return by death. Sorry, chat, we're writing a lot. Dude, Cecilius mentioning the observers and Subaru going like, oh yeah, there's someone watching me too. Damn, bro. I'm right here. Come find me. I know that it's selfish, but I want to save everyone. With Natsuki Subaru's authority and nothing more, it just isn't enough. That's why, come find me, Satella. Oh, shit. Oh, shit, man. What is happening? Oh. 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 Oh, shit. Goddamn, bro. Just the single page of I love you is insane. Even Atsuka cooked. I mean, I figured, like, when Return by Death being broken, like, started coming more and more into the forefront and stuff, I figured that, you know, Satella is gonna show up, but, I've been waiting for it. Because, like, she's fucking responsible for the Authority. And now here we are. Yeah, I lied. I love Phase 6. I don't believe you, Mr. Moppet. It happened the moment that name was called out. The world abruptly lost color. The loud throbbing that resounded, the ringing in his ears vanished into the distance. He was incapable of moving his limbs. His tongue became parched and numb. He became unable to both move his eyes and breathe. The force restraining his free will, the threat slowly disrupting the beating of his heart, all that had been because. Donning a dress weaved from jet black shadows, the witch he yearned for appeared before his eyes. I love you. As she spoke so, the witch's magic hands of black stretched out towards him, caressing Subaru's cheek, tenderly cherishing him as he slid down the back of his neck, or as she slid down the back of his neck, tracing his collarbone down toward his solar plexus, to then finally arrive at the place she sought. I love you, I love you, I love you. While she whispered the love his ears had grown accustomed to, her fingers passed through that child's chest, then finally wrapping themselves around the organ where the facilities of life were contained with gentleness. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Subaru had somehow managed to do it, that much was certain. The countless whispers imbued with the power in the word love, the fingertips wrapping his heart which seems to run contrary to that, the ensuing pain that had lasted seemingly until the end of this world, he had longed for all of it. Therefore... Yeah, we're not reading all that shit, but I love you. There we go. Even if this repulsive world was fully permeated by the power in those words, Natsuki Subaru would not be broken. As the world regained its color, as his once vanished tinnitus returned. Oh shit, we're done already? Oh man. I was hoping there'd be... Fuck. As the sensation in his limbs and the numbness of his tongue both faded, as he took gruff breaths, the flow of time for everything outside of Subaru was set in motion. With that, it seemed both Todd and Tanza did not understand what Subaru had meant. The latter, with a strong clutch on his chest as he groaned. Nevertheless, the subsequent change ought to have been noticed by the two of them right away. What? Eyes sharpened, his expression stiffening in terror, Todd shifted his focus to his surroundings. The cause of that was not something visible to the eye, but an approaching, audible report. In more detail, roars. The witch beast still oh shit, here they come, dude. Let's go. The witch beast still remaining upon the Gladiator Island were howling in unison, as though they had arranged this beforehand. Furthermore, having been stimulated by an unordinary trigger, the aura was of such menace that it seemed as if they had lost their senses. That instant, casting his mind back to the sense of a crisis, Todd immediately detected Subaru as the cause. Just like in the forest, dude. Just like in the forest, dude. In the forest, when he said, I can return my death to fuck with the snake, Todd instantly knew that it was Subaru, and he instantly fucking tried to kill him. I wonder if he's gonna link it. If he's gonna link the two together. I wonder, man. It seemed that even Todd himself did not know the meaning of that return by death. Subaru had shouted out. But he had no necessity to comprehend it, so casting that aside, he put his intent to kill into practice on the spot. While remaining vigilant of Tanza's counterattack, Todd's body ferociously charged towards Subaru. Opposing Todd, Tanza hurled the stone in her hand at a great velocity. The stone flew true, rocketing towards the very center of Todd's being. And yet, shit. Letting out a minute grunt, Todd gnawed his molars at the pain originating from his left arm, which had been struck by the stone. Unable to allow him to dodge, Tanza had set her aim to the largest target possible, his torso. Catching wind of that, Todd had sacrificed his left arm, and thus minimized the damage he had suffered. Following that, Todd brandished the axe in his right arm and tried to cut Tanza's petite form down. However, Subaru would not permit such a thing. Schwartz? Her shoulder sent flying due to a thrust from behind. Tanza called that out as she fell on her side. The one to send her flying had been Subaru, who she had been protecting with that small back of hers just before. Tanza had vanished from the range of the axe's downswing, but Subaru had entered it in her stead. For but an instant, Todd's pupils constricted. However, the momentum of his axe did not cease, his swing being brought to completion. The blade drew near without haste. It would send Subaru's head flying. It happened then. A firm sound and a weighty impact gave rise to a hollow echo, as Todd's body flailed around in midair. Oh my god, he's using it. Todd, having been blown away, now on his back upon the floor, promptly got back up. And yet, droplets of blood dripped from the grand gash now in his mouth, whereas his knees really seemed to be on the verge of buckling. Just now, unsure of what had just occurred, Todd's eyes darted about, thrusting his fingers towards that Todd, Subaru. Invisible Providence. What the meaning behind that punch to his defenseless jaw was, Subaru politely explained it to him. Next, I'll blow your head off. Having withdrawn his thrust-out finger, Subaru now erected his middle finger and asserted such. Oh my fucking god, man. Oh my fucking god. Jesus, man. Perhaps because his jaw was broken. His hemorrhage did not cease. While spilling out blood, Todd suddenly squinted his eyes. With that, he would begin his retaliation over that broken jaw, or so they had thought. While quietly training his gaze on Subaru, Todd slowly retreated into the background, his legs backing up to enter the ascending black smoke. Without any faltering, he vanished into the fumes. As soon as he noticed that the situation had become unfavorable to him, discarding just about all of his reluctance, he had chosen to escape. Well, I thought he'd do that, but... Seeing Todd's disappearance with her own eyes, Tanza rushed over to Subaru, her facial expression alerted. Before he could take Tanza's hand, Subaru slipped and tumbled down right where he was. He had already been on the verge of death, even before reaching this place. Most likely, at the time he had descended alongside Idra and Hyen, he had sustained serious wounds of having multiple bones broken. The authority of sloth, which he had not utilized for a long time, was providing a strong stimulus to Subaru's brain as per usual. Blood was trickling out of his nose, and yet he was incapable of staunching it. Though in any case, even if he could staunch it, it would not make much of a difference. Todd's axe had pulverized Subaru's right shoulder with its final blow, and was currently lodged there. The fact he had not inadvertently lost consciousness was proof that Subaru's life had already drifted away, so much so that pain or anything else was already irrelevant. Schwartz! Clinging onto a sobbing Tanza. Subaru's innermost feelings were entirely those of guilt. With this small body, with earnestness, Subaru nestled close to her, to the girl who had desperately tried to keep him alive, to whom he must leave something behind. Only, take this. The curse tool? From his pocket, he retrieved the black orb and entrusted it to Tanza's hand. It was not that he had some sort of idea. He thought he should at least leave something behind to Tanza, even if he would soon perish. Ceci is over there with Arakia. Understood. I understand, since I understand. Todd is already... You don't need to worry. As far as Todd's personality went, Subaru cannot imagine that the former would consider challenging him once more after having had an experience that painful. That was a detestable aspect of that man. And yet, simultaneously, it was a belief that he could trust on and make use of. Like that, whilst endearing tears, Tanza touched Subaru, who was frantically stringing words together. Until the end, for the sake of Subaru, who was worrying about her, she felt she had to do something, desperately so. Though, that was wrong. That order of things was completely backwards. Tanza had treated him kindly just before. She had remedied just about all of Subaru's thoughts. That Natsuki Subaru was, until the end, someone better off not giving up. She had aided him in remembering so. Thanks to that, once more, was he still able to fight. That was why. Next time. Indeed, at a Subaru softly vocalizing his resolve, Tanza widened her eyes. Still, for the girl, that must have sounded like the final show of obstinacy from Subaru about to pass away. As tears accumulated in her eyes, firmly enduring those emotions, Tanza's small hand, her slender fingers, gently wrapped around Subaru's minutely trembling hand. And then... Yes, that is correct, Schwartz. Next time, without a doubt, we will not lose. Taking care as to not disgrace Subaru's final wish, while crying, Tanza uttered that. Aligned with each other, they did not become. Even so, they were aligned in their desire to save one another. That was sufficient. Oh my god. There we go. With that sufficient desire, while bearing the feelings of this moment, I will save everyone. With that resolve in his final moment, the life of Natsuki Subaru burned to ashes. Jesus. Dark, dark, a world of utmost darkness. Nothing but darkness existed in this place where light would not flow in. This ultimately distant land, a place neither prayers nor wishes could reach. Always did that place gnaw at his heart, imposing a feeling of helplessness, bringing about grief and sorrow, a cursed land untrodden by any being. However, this time, this very moment, did his thoughts wish, anticipate this arrival. The darkness he could not stand a chance against by his lonesome was engulfing everything, taking away everything. Even if he was being tortured by that feeling of helplessness, abandoning everything in his vicinity, even himself, the feeling of defeat that originated from being unable to do anything anymore had scorched his body. I love you. It may not be everything, but I know. The things he could accomplish by his lonesome were not that numerous. He was not a human being, ambitious to such an extreme extent. That was why he could also make mistakes, and why his resolve too could bend. Even so, I love you. I know that as well. I really do. I know. Having parted ways, it was something he knew at last. Simultaneously, he became unsure on how he could retain the emotions he'd had up until this point. Still, as he had indeed been thinking that he wanted to know, the most important thing, he knew it. He really did. Thank you. I'll be heading off now. To that place, to that land of isolating waters, where all life had been wiped out, for the sake of losing no longer, for the sake of not allowing those he held dear to be trampled upon. Once more, Natsuki Subaru would rise. Once more, he would rise. Is the light novel section added after this section? If you can set it now, yeah, I can read it. You should send it in Discord, though, because I don't think you can send links in YouTube chat. Is that the Shadow Garden? If so, doesn't that imply another authority since he didn't used to have one? I don't know. Thank you, chat, for the light novel edition. I'll read it in just a second. Sorry about the flashbang chat. It's bright as shit. Forcing himself, his body soaking wet, he caught Saul. Wait. You said this is after, right? Well, yeah. Wait a minute. Quite literally, it had been a struggle to the death. No, it felt like it had been a struggle to live. Within the waters of pitch black, which offered no refuge, he desperately struggled. Opposite to the right hand that had grasped. Was there perhaps more leeway than I had thought? Your hand reached out quite hastily. No, it was just barely. Nice timing. Were you perhaps waiting at your own discretion? I was just thinking it's important for us to be aware of the climax together. It's quite amazing that you swam all the way. It's a strange coincidence that I happen to be walking here with the wind blowing at me. No, this is really quite excellent. Unrelenting to the one who had been drowning, that unchanging attitude pierced through. It was foolish that he felt something like relief from that. However, it had started from here. Henceforth, that would be the start. Don't you just get the feeling that a grand tale's gonna begin? Yeah. In fact, I was also just thinking we should get started on that. With a fierce smile, Natsuki Super replied such to that cheerful thunder. Um... Huh. Um... I see chat moving, and I just want you guys to know that pretty much for like this entire read, I have not been looking at chat that much. So, if you guys are spamming shit, I'm not reading it. Wow. Um, Initially, obviously the chapter's not done yet, but my initial thoughts, having just read that Ellen section, is that leaves a very bad taste in my mouth. But I gotta piss. I'll be right back, chat. You guys have fun looking at the screen. I'll be right back. Hello, chat, I'm back. So, it's kind of a weird situation where, like, I see paragraphs in chat. Jesus Christ. Yeah, okay, I'm not looking at chat. Um, okay. So, it's kind of a situation where you perma-kill these people, and also nobody really cares, right? Because, like, these people have only been around for, like, 70 some odd chapters, right? And I don't think we should be like if we're gonna permakill someone, we shouldn't introduce someone to permakill them. I think that's really lame. You know what I mean? On the other hand, we spent like chapters and chapters consistently reiterating that like that this was a situation where people are dying, and the narration kept going, hey, look, if Subaru, like, oh, it's the summertime rendering thing where the more Subaru dies, the more these things become permanent, and these people are gonna die. Oh, guys, did I tell you again that these guys are gonna die? Oh, did I tell you again? Did I forget to tell you that these guys are gonna die? It's just kind of one of those things where it's one of those situations where whichever one you pick, it's gonna feel lacking. Um, what do you think of the whole Kid Subaru part in Arc 7? I mean, I think it's been good overall, yeah. I was gonna say I think I talk about it in Phase 5, but then I remember he's not even in Phase 5, so... I'll talk more about it in the Phase 6 video, probably, but...
What do you think of the whole Kid Subaru part in Arc 7?
I'm glad you asked. Is that the general consensus on Kid Subaru? I mean, I can't answer that. I don't know the consensus. This is one of those narrative situations where you kind of I think this is the equivalent of painting yourself into a corner, right? Where if you do deliver on the permadeath, you're in a situation where a lot of people just don't care. Because it's fucking White's Idrin Heinen. I don't remember how you say his name. So like, yeah, you're kind of in a situation there where no one's gonna give a shit. But then if you don't permakill someone, you're also put yourself into a situation where, why did you do all this? You know what I mean? Like, why did you do all that? Now, if I had to pick between the two, obviously I'd pick this one because having these characters be the permadeaths I think it would be a bigger insult, if that makes sense. It feels like a little bit of a bait and switch, for like the last 4 chapters. Um, yeah, I don't know. This drew most of the MHA comparisons you saw in chat. Okay, well here's the thing. The MHA revival, basically completely bucked the rules of the universe to justify something that served almost no purpose now. Because at least, okay, this is MHA spoilers. Well, actually, I'm just not gonna say it. The character that died, now that he's being revived, it doesn't matter. Like, everything that he did no longer matters. Whereas with this, everything that Subaru did still matters, because obviously that's always how it's worked with ReZero, right? He's always been the one who has continuity through loops. So like this all still matters for Subaru, of course. And also, Subaru wasn't revived by a needle in a bubble, so bubble, yeah, look, it's implicit, okay? It's implicit. um damn. I guess a way you could interpret it. Should be thinking on. I'm not even like reading chat. I just like I see the chat move and it like distracts my brain. Jesus Christ. Um so like if you guys remember, I've been interpreting Kid Subaru for a while now as like him not feeling confident in his ideals. You know what I mean? um I've talked before about how as soon as the siege of Garal isn't bloodless, coincidentally he turns into a kid at Chaos Flame. Um and I've always thought that that was supposed to be representative of his state after he feels like his ideology was proven wrong. And perhaps you could interpret his saving everyone ideology as being proven correct by Satella, maybe? Because now the save point has been reset. It's a weird situation because Arc 7 both criticizes and I feel like attacks Subaru's hero complex. If that makes like you have Rem who go like you're not a hero, and I mean it feels right. Like yeah, you're not a hero, and then Al will gas him up, and obviously Al has some other intentions, and I mean, uh, clearly Satella probably has her own intentions too. Um, hmm. It could be an act of further gassing up Subaru's hero complex. I don't know. Damn man, I don't know. I I was talking of like a couple days ago in my live blog about how I expected at some point for like a reset to happen, but like Jesus. I didn't expect the entire phase to get reset. And I think knowing that Arc 8 isn't Arc 8, but like is Arc 7 Part 2 gives me more faith. You know what I mean? It gives me more faith that the idea of Subaru's hero complex still has plenty of time to be addressed. I mean, I should finish it. I mean, I don't know how much longer I have. I don't have that much left. Okay, I don't got that much left, so I'll finish it and then we'll keep talking. Through his buttocks, he felt the Galewind horse pulled carriage shake with a rattle. It had not been too comfortable of a journey. It was not about how comfortable the ride had been, but rather about how comfortable he had been. In regards to the former, it was likely that this was a rare privilege, even within the Empire. He did not feel overly grateful about that. As to why he felt so uncomfortable in such a luxurious carriage was due to the scarcity of windows, and to the fact that he was not in control of the reins. Naturally, both left some margin for one to be targeted and exchanged, so whichever was preferred varied from person to person. Quite simply, it was just that he hated his response being delayed, because he had left things to others. Oh look, it's just as Subaru said. The horse-led carriage itself had been made quite solid through the protection of earth magic, and when it came to being vigilant towards their surroundings, it was being handled by someone who possessed considerably greater senses than he did. It sure does leave nothing to be desired, apart from it being a journey I hadn't wished for. As expected from the customs of a country that esteemed the strong, the extravagant praise the generals received was quite an extreme thing. In other words, considering he was being treated like this, he could even say that it seemed that he had been placed amongst the powerful, but in his true opinion, that in itself was a bothersome kindness. His personal opinion was that, as long as he was not precisely the summit of the world, he would lose far more than he would gain by being thought of as strong. Being thought of as weak was much, much easier. It was for this reason that the discomfort from his treatment had become the logical conclusion. Are you bored? Suddenly his closed eyes slowly opened, the voice that had come from atop the roof as a culprit. The owner of the voice he was hearing was located there, the interior of the coach was empty, himself excluded. The lack of people was rather splendid, as it would be suffocating for him if others were present, but his companion was intolerable. Someone unbefitting of being a civilized person, oh my god. Are you listening? I heard you. I was just thinking about something. What about you? Do you remember your instructions properly? Even I can remember that much. Unthinkable was what he wanted to say, but there was room for doubt as to whether it was something he could believe. In the first place, he had never heard of a general that delegated full control of their plans to a subordinate, who himself was no more than a private first class. Only because they were not very good at thinking. He had been told to stop speaking politely, and he had responded exactly in tandem with her wishes, but what was on her mind was wholly unknown. Perhaps she had taken to him if he thought of her as a female version of Jamal. Though, there did not seem to be much of a difference. Although it seemed more difficult to find a place to abandon her in than it had been to do so for Jamal, which was bothersome. Jesus Christ. The island, I see it. Are you prepared? As long as I don't lose the Prime Minister's letter, all that's left is to get the governor we heard about to follow the orders. There's no need to get into a fight with anyone. It's an easy job, you know. Atop the roof, Arakia listened as she looked at the coach's destination on the other side of the drawbridge it was crossing over. As she answered, he ascertained the feeling of the letter within his pocket. Indeed, their role was something akin to messengers. As long as they got him to follow the directives, it would be fine. However, if ordinary messengers really would have been sufficient, there was no reason to bother with sending Arakia. That was the sole thing that bothered him. It should be an easy job, kinda. The objective is the annihilation of the island. Is it possible? Provided the governor agrees to activate the curse rule obediently. Governor Gustave Merlot, the manager of the Gladiator Island, the place where their goal lay, had imposed an absolute regulation called the Curse Rule for the sake of ruling over the gladiators assembled on the island. The Curse Rule was invoked when someone who had been engraved with the curse mark from Gustave violated the rules. That life would then be taken without any room for argument. It truly was a convenient thing. The Curse Rule was invoked when someone who had been engraved with the curse mark from Gustave violated the rules. That life would then be taken without— oh wait, I already read that far, what the fuck. A curse tool created by one of the 9 divine generals, the master of enchanted items, was serving as the trigger for the curse rule, and the conditions to invoke it were plain and simple. At a fixed distance, those who go too far from the curse tool shall die. Damn. Any concerns about the people of the island? The safe zone seems to be roughly the whole area of the island. At any rate, even if they try to slip away covertly, they'll die if their curse mark has been removed. It can prevent their escape even if they get frightened at crossing the drawbridge. That ability to restrain them is enough to keep them inside. In truth, if they were to let one gladiator die as an example of the curse rule's effect, then probably nobody would try to do the same thing to double check it. No fools that reckless existed. It was a curse activated without taking the trouble to look at the recipient in the eye, or pressure them in any way. On top of the island's special characteristic, he honestly admired how that restraining device was thoroughly drilled into them. However, were they to realize that the curse rule could not be utilized freely, it would arouse an uprising right away. Well, I intend on annihilating them when the time comes, so it'll be fine to just throw the curse tool in the lake. The water surrounding the Gladiator Island was quite deep. Were it not for the large drawbridge, its coast would be unreachable. Much like an island amidst isolating waters, but the distance to the bottom of the lake was even deeper. If the curse tool were to be thrown into the lake, by the time it reached the bottom, they would be in the range of activation for the curse rule. In a worst-case scenario, that of the governor not cooperating, throwing the retrieved curse tool into the lake would also enter the realm of possibility. It's essential to prepare for the absolute worst, the hiding place of the curse tool included. For one that untactfully hold pride in their work, it would trouble him should that be the cause of difficulty. It would be best for him to cooperate in slaughtering all the gladiators, obediently, being reasonable without incident. He wanted to return home as soon as possible, after finishing their task like that, and thus fulfilling the objective of their journey. Katya. Because they had been separated for so long, their short reunion had strengthened his attachment. It was a cruel action, one akin to spilling a single drop of water into his parched, water-craving throat. He wished to ingest water until his stomach burst. That could perhaps be called a natural emotion for a human being, he thought. Even if it made it just 1 second faster, he would finish his task and return to the Imperial capital. If it were for that purpose, I'm completely fine with any sacrifices. Indeed, that was when one of the switches within himself flipped towards violence. Todd, something strange. Called out by his name, the man, Todd, lifted his head with a what? Her tone lacked seriousness, but that was the kind of manner she conducted herself with more often than not. Nonetheless, having ascended to the rank of Divine General, her true abilities were nothing to be made light of. And it was also true that a normal person would not be able to guess them. That which she pointed out was their objective, the Gladiator Island, which they were steadily approaching. They were already nearing halfway through the drawbridge, at a place between the two shores, where the coach would cross over to the island half of the bridge. Having been called out precisely just before they entered their opponent's lair, a bad premonition overcame him, and then— stop. Right now, stop, turn back. The instant he looked closely at the path outside the window, Todd yelled that out, bewildering the soldier on the driver's seat. Clicking his tongue at the slowness of that reaction, Todd immediately climbed into the driver's seat, snatched the reins away from the soldier, stopped the carriage, and whipped the Galewind horse to make it turn around post-haste. After that, he ignored the befuddled coachman and looked back toward the roof. Arakia, keep an eye on the island. Be alert. If there's movement, fire at will. Understood. Come on now, our responsibility as emissaries from the Prime Minister is— Arakia obeyed without complaint. The coachman voiced his sense of duty, disregarding the former and glaring at the nearby letter, who had a poor understanding of things. Todd quietly narrowed his eyes. At the gaze of Todd to the coachman, his spirit withering away, choked on the words and shut his mouth. That was the right choice. Were he to try to persist on the issue, he would have been shoved off into the lake. Oh my god. It would be better if they were saved the trouble of not losing their coachman for their return, and that had happened had been Arakia's achievement, who had noticed something abnormal before they finished crossing the drawbridge. Seemingly, the situation had already changed. Todd, it seems Prime Minister Bursted's concerns were valid. Fucking Fondlefawn. With that as his response to her short call, Todd turned the Galewind horse to the opposite direction, retracing the path they had come from. They could not afford for the drawbridge to be withdrawn on them. Those in control of the drawbridge on the further shore were not restricted to people not cooperating with their opponents. At any rate, for them to be waiting for us fully prepared, they're being led by a pretty dangerous person. We can't win even though I'm here? Yeah, that's right. Quietly, while hearing Arakia's voice raise in tension, Todd gave a nod, with a shudder as he felt dread run down his back. It's not an opponent we have any chance of beating, at least for today, so he spoke. I thought they'd turn back, but the decision to cut their losses seemed way too quick. While viewing the coach turn around exactly halfway into the drawbridge, retreating without any hesitation, he vented a sigh. He had been amazed and impressed by the speed of their judgment, but even so, it had been within range of his expectations. Had he truly intended to perform a surprise attack, he would first quietly lure the opponent onto the island. However, that situation would never have been settled, with both sides remaining unscathed. As someone aware of the massacre that would ensue in the case that they lured the carriage in, he had been unable to take such a risky gamble. That was because he had already thrown himself headfirst into the riskiest gamble available. Schwartz, the emissaries are... Yeah, they ran away, as expected. They thought it strange that we just line up to welcome them, though. That was what I wanted them to think, so it was a bluff. Is that so? I am relieved that we did not end up making the second an opponent. A girl named Kimono stood next to Subaru, who was shielding his eyes with his hands to his forehead as he gazed toward the drawbridge. Gently patting her own chest, Tanza digested the relief over the plan's success. The two horns atop her head were intact and well, and there were no wounds visible on her beautiful and youthful skin whatsoever. Very weird way to put that, but okay. With absolutely no problems at all, she was healthy and well, an admirably perfect Tanza. Excuse me, Schwartz? No, I'm just wondering why you were patting my head. Sorry, it was by reflex. At Tanza's question born of embarrassment, realizing that he had been subconsciously stroking her head, Subaru apologized. But regardless of his apology, he did not stop patting her head. Then as Subaru continued to caress her head, Tanza pursed her lips and did not resist. For her sullen face to appear childlike once again, Subaru thought he would continue patting her head no matter what, as long as he was not shaken off. However, how long are you going to do that for? Is this really the time for brats to be flirting with each other? Huh? Just as a vigorous voice came from behind him, Subaru's hand stopped petting. Parting his hand from Tanza in haste then, Subaru bent his lips in displeasure and turned around. With Subaru's line of sight falling upon him, the lizard man, Hyen, saying, "What is it?" as he stiffened his face, looking at the two beside him in turns as if asking for help. What do you have to look at me with those kinds of eyes, even though I just said something obvious? Am I wrong? It seems like it's more about the way you said it, and your timing in saying it was terrible. Though it isn't something I'd say, even if the timing was appropriate. He's a better person than you. Have some consideration, lizard bastard. Oh my god, that's so racist. What the fuck? Betrayed by the two people on his flank, by Edra and Whites, Hyen's eyes darted about in bewilderment. Due to Hyen's reaction, Idra produced a wry smile and Whites gave a snort of his nose. At the figures of those three lining up, Subaru remembered his deep emotions. In response to Subaru gazing at them like that, Idra frowned and, "Schwartz, that somewhat meaningful look in your eyes is unsettling. It's nothing, it's just, I was thinking about how far I've come." As Subaru rubbed his finger under his nose, Idra cocked his head in puzzlement. Regardless of Idra's reaction, right next to him, Whites crossed his burly arms with a mutter of, "I get it." While distorting frightening tattoos on his body, Whites glared at the other side of the drawbridge and, "We chased away the messengers from the Imperial capital. With this, we don't have a path of retreat, ain't that so? You're a little bit off the mark, but that's also true. A little bit off the mark." His appearance of looking like he understood the most of everyone crumbled, and Whites' eyes widened in surprise, producing a sarcastic smile to that reaction. Subaru reflected on how the deep emotions he harbored differed from the impression those three had given off with pride. Those three, rather, no one knew anything at all, but that was completely fine. And Subaru, he would remember every single thing, and then, apparently their verdict has been passed. Turning around due to the weighty and imposing voice, he saw a personage who had been awaiting the emissaries in the vicinity of the drawbridge. The horse-drawn carriage that the emissaries were riding on had turned back, and having made sure it finished its crossing over to the other shore, he stared seriously at Subaru with a terrifying expression like that of a demon. As the giant of a man wielding an intimidating aura slowly approached them, and while having the light impression that Hyde and the others behind him were getting overwhelmed, Subaru shrugged his shoulders and spoke. With this, do you believe me? No objections. The Imperial command bestowed upon me as the official by His Excellency the Emperor, the time has come for it to be fulfilled. That is to say, all the gladiators of the Gladiator Island Gehenhive, they are to be placed under your command, Your Highness Schwartz. Wow. While declaring so, interlocking the hands and fists of his forearms in front of his chest, demonstrating his dignified stance, was the chief of the Gladiator Island, Gustave Morello. The guards under Gustave exchanged glances at his statement, and all took an identical stance in unison. This ain't pleasing. Discontent with the attitudes displayed by Gustave and his group, Whites muttered. Subaru looked back, and Whites jerked his chin as he closed one eye. I object to you deciding by yourself that all the gladiators are to obey, even if you're the governor and island chief. Whites Rogan, keep your opinions within your heart. However, there are things that take precedence over one's personal intentions. I will be troubled if you forgot that. In my capacity, I have means to have you do as I say. You wanna fucking go? Whites gave a snort of his nose, and Gustave also harbored silent intentions with his eyes. With things as they were, it seemed that the two would come to fight each other, and before Subaru could intervene, Governor, please don't act hastily. Whites, you lowlife. You never use enough words. Seems to me you were asking for a misunderstanding because of that. I don't mind fighting because of that in the slightest. Others are gonna mind, you know. Ah, god damn it. Governor, we ain't gonna do something as shameful as to obey your orders out of fear. As Adra held Waits back, Hyen stepped forward in his place and declared, so devoid of any shame. Hyen would not look Gustave in the eye were the situation to be unfavorable to him, but not letting his lack of nerve show, boldly pointing at Subaru with his hand, he spoke. Even without that strange threat of yours, we're going with Schwartz. Hey, ain't that right, you assholes? You ain't afraid, are you? Don't make me laugh, lizard bastard. Who's afraid? Who? Aye, let's go, your highness, our imperial prince. Let's wrest it away from your nasty old man. It's the start of our empire. Hyen's oh-so-loud call was responded to by a crowd of voices. Rising one after another all around them, no, from all throughout the island, were the voices of the gladiators who had all come together to welcome their emissaries. Mixed along with the voices of the many men and their blood boiling were the voices of Hyen's comrades, Orson and his group, and the voice of Old Man Null, who most unusually was present outside the healing room. Quite literally, the Gladiator Island Gehenhive had become one. Thank you. While hearing the cheers from his excited surroundings, Subaru clutched his chest and muttered. To the comrades in his surroundings, and to himself, and above all else to the one who had granted him this chance, he was grateful. Then Subaru slapped both of his cheeks with his hands, raised his face, its expression cheerful, and, well, we're going now, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Ceci? Haha, I guess you're right about that. As Subaru, having tilted his head, asked a question, a silhouette twirled around as it descended. Having watched over the events as they unfolded from a vantage point up high, Cecilius made a light sound as he landed. He did not have one side of his body scorched, and his manner was unchanged from the time it had been scorched. Yeah, I get it. We went back in time, I understand. As one had expected of you, you managed a totally unexpected result. No matter how I slice it, I didn't expect you to get this far. Truly, I must say bravo. However, I got just one question. Huh? What is it? Kindly, carefully, and thoroughly going around back and forth to several places, your ability to win everybody over is truly superb and praiseworthy, but indeed, that's just it, you know? Aren't you going to persuade me? His two hands concealed by his sleeves, Cecilius asked that of him with a face that showed curiosity from the bottom of his heart. Unable to comprehend it, the smile Cecilius always had plastered on his face had disappeared. Seeing that expression, Super had slightly widened his eyes, then gave a satisfied nod. That was correct. Super had not attempted to persuade Cecilius. Despite having persuaded Gustave, Hyen, Waits, and Idra, Orson and the others, and Old Man Null, as well as Rex and Milzak, as well as Cashew and Moise... Dude, come on, bro. The reason was... Ceci, I wanted to see you make that face. Every single time up until now, the one Super had failed in connecting with at the crucial moments had been Cecilius. He was not enough of a fool to cross a dangerous bridge by revenge. But the result of all his thinking that, for better or for worse, this was the best way to have an effect on Cecilius. And thus, when it came to pass in reality, Cecilius' eyes went wide upon hearing that. And only then did Subaru give him the announcement. I'm gonna work you hard, and if you come with us now. So, are you coming? Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. Pog. Cecilius is pogging. Shrugging his shoulders, Subaru winked. Just after Cecilius heard that high-handed invitation, he opened his wide mouth, then delivered a round of explosive laughter while bending his back. Flailing his legs around on the spot, Cecilius was having a hearty laugh. Having had a thorough burst of laughter, he wiped away the tears emerging from the corners of his eyes, and, "You're kidding me, you've got to be kidding me. From this very Cecilius segment, the Blue Lightning, from the leading actor of this world, from me, whom you ignored, you asked that? To please come together with you? That's completely preposterous, Basu." "So, what will you do?" "I'll go with you, of course. I'd like to say something like, though it's annoying to be taken along, but it's incredible how you've talked me down to thinking it's not annoying in the slightest. Ah, incredible. It's a pleasure." While clapping his hands with force, Cecilius got fully on board. His actions aligned with Subaru's expectations. But relieved by the merit of that decisiveness, Subaru placed his hands on his chin. In truth, this was something he had been thinking from the very start, but... "That way of calling me, Basu, it just doesn't sit right with me in the slightest, you know." "Whoa-ho, Adverse Winds, to rupture things like that just after I answered I'd come along with you. You're awfully poor at communicating. But then, do you have an alternative I should use to call you?" "Guess you're right, huh?" As Cecilius pitched forward, Subaru thought for a bit. He suddenly thought about how Cecilius' mouth would have grown accustomed to saying Basu. Heading upon an idea that was unexpectedly not so shabby, Subaru smiled with a wicked face, and... Boss. "From now on, call me Boss." He did not intend to be pretentious, but surprisingly, going along with Cecilius' penchant for being a drama geek didn't feel so bad. As Subaru responded to that in that manner, Cecilius sighed with a ho-ho. Boss. It's got quite a nice ring to it, though I've got no clue whatsoever about its meaning. I don't dislike it, rather, I quite like it. Cecilius wagey like us. "It means leader. Just right, isn't it?" "Yes, indeed, boss. Then shall we begin?" Cheerfully smiling, the words of those high-spirited Cecilius were met with Subaru nodding and letting out a yeah. Starting with Cecilius, Subaru then looked over at Hyen, Whites, and Idra, the comrades of his unit, as well as the other gladiators, after that making eye contact with Gustav and the guards who accompanied him. As a result of his utmost grand experience with the comrades who had become one, "Let's go, everyone. Let's go give my shitty old man in the Imperial capital a wallop to the cheek." At Subaru's rousing shout, the people of the Gladiator Island returned that grand reply. While basking in that intense spirit, so intense it seemed to make the entirety of the island floating on the lake quake, Subaru suddenly noticed Tanza's gaze trained on him. "Don't worry, Tanza. The one and only person who actually knew that Subaru was not the legitimate child of the Emperor, Subaru, giving a reassuring nod, resolved himself to head from those western lands towards the Imperial capital without resting. As the son of Natsuki Kenichi, with the trust of his comrades, he would push forward. Therefore, from now on, because he had been summoned to another world, this time it's our win. As the strongest existence, Natsuki Subaru would trample upon the Valikian Empire. It's a nice way for Subaru to take Sharla's words, right? Of the one who wins is you, and for Subaru to kind of recontextualize that with regards to he can't do everything on his own, and that's what Todd was here for too, because Todd wants to do everything on his own because he doesn't fucking trust anyone else. But Subaru is like, it's not always me who wins, it's us who wins. That sounds cool, I guess. Wow, we did it, chat. Jesus. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think on this reset more because everything else in this chapter was fucking phenomenal. But the reset was like, oh. Still the lowest phase of Arc 7? Yes. I said in chat earlier, but I don't know if you saw, but Subaru told Todd I could have turned out like you before saying I could return my death in the LN. Oh shit, that's actually fire. Um, the reset, I'm gonna have to think about the reset. I'm gonna have to think about the reset, cause there's something about like, it might be, you can call it a knee-jerk reaction. You might be right, but like undoing like an entire phase, and I understand why. Like I'm understanding why it was undone, but like undoing an entire phase, it hurts. You know what I mean?
Dear, am I 6/6 in phase predictions?
I don't know, are you? So I'm gonna have to think on it. I'm gonna have to let it cook. How far along are you in the villain slug? I think like episode 8 or some shit. I don't remember. Well, it's not undone, just the end part. No, it's all undone. That's the point. I mean, the reset has him going to the beach. It's all reset. But I'm gonna have to think on it and the implications that it has. I opened Steam by accident. Sorry. Sorry, chat. Um. So, any bets that you guys have, okay, do not resolve them yet because I'm not finished yet, okay? Because this is gonna be a while. Because this is like, this is one of those things, that this is one of those things that's gonna take a while probably. Um. Yeah, by the time the Phase 6 video comes out, my thoughts will most likely be finalized. Reset aside, how do you feel about them off-screening Super resolving everything just for a hype chapter ending? Yeah, I think that I don't Thoughts on the actual I know part? It was good, yeah. Everything about this chapter was good, and then we hit that and it was like, damn, that hurts. I meant like everything between him showing up and Todd showing up occurred in the same way. Well, you don't know that. So like this is kind of like I understand uh the apprehension for him just having solved everything off screen now. And then I also understand not wanting to read this shit again. Because Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, I don't know, chat. I'm gonna have to think on it. I definitely understand. Thought this guy would talk about how fanfiction chapter 75 was, along with the plot holes it has. What plot holes does chapter 75 have? Like, you can think it sucks, but there's no plot holes. He had no miasma. That was explained in the chapter. That's not a plot hole, brother. That was explained. Yeah, that was referenced in the chapter. Don't worry, chat. That'll be in my summary video, okay? RBD being able to go past a checkpoint was kind of a plot hole. No, it isn't. I mean, okay, again, you can think it's stupid, but it's not a plot hole because it was never established that it can't do that. It was never a hard rule that it's impossible. Man, there are so many things to criticize about this chapter, but like, damn. The criticism I've seen are not it. You gotta do better in this chat. I kind of hate that Satella can rewind a set checkpoint. Um, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how fucking checkpoints work. I was reading chat argue and I'm just like, alright. I would avoid using the acronym CP. Damn, you guys are going at it. I understand. I see that this chat is very split. I understand. All right, well, the goal now is to think on this because it's a little brutal. Um, I think I like it a little bit more than I did on initial read. It's been like fucking like 20 minutes, but um, but yeah, I'll have to deep it. I'll have to hashtag deep it. Does this ruin the phase arc for you? No, it doesn't ruin the arc at all. It's just like it's at worst just goofy. You know? It's at worst like, oh wow, that's really fucking goofy. I don't know why we did that. But no. It honestly just sounds like the issue is that it doesn't quite fit your predictions. I don't know if you're using that as a shield, but yeah, that's how media criticism works. People form like if we have nothing, if we don't judge media off of our predictions and our thoughts, then we have nothing to judge it off of. There's no objective metric to judge it off of. Man, I'm gonna have to like comb through my notes. So I've seen a couple people say that the checkpoints set are different. Is that like true? Because like there's like a Satella checkpoint and a Subaru checkpoint. How does that work? And how do we know that's how it works? Did I miss it? It's not really confirmed, it's more of a guess. Oh, okay, I see. What's broken returned by death mean? It means that it's not working. I don't know. So law we don't know? Okay, so the idea of Subaru checkpoints and Satella checkpoints is an interpretation you guys have? He said he was instinctively using his own authority? Did he? If he did, I don't remember. Because, like, I've always been on the idea of, I've always been on the train of, I think I said this in my phase videos, right? That, like, this is the consequence of being a kid and, like, losing Satella's love, you know? Checkpoints, both normal and loveless, are plot devices. There's nothing predictive about them, honestly. I mean, yeah. I mean, allegedly, anyway. I guess we don't know that for sure. It's a little presumptuous, I think. Subaru has to succeed at some point, and he wants to save everyone. I don't see a reason to make him fail at that. Um, if you're talking about this phase in particular, I won't comment until I think about it more, but in general, I don't think that's a good way to look at stories at all. I don't, like... Hmm. There have been zero hints, foreshadowing, etc. of a checkpoint being ignored. Only reasonable explanation is that RBD was malfunctioning. Otherwise, why I have to... I mean, yeah, that is the explanation, is that RBD was malfunctioning, right? And then reuniting with Satella there. And... yeah, that's the point. This is the turning point where he follows through and proves it. I mean, Subaru always follows through and proves it. Like, if that's the justification for the phase, then that's just the first 4 arcs where he always pulls through, right? Like, you can get reductive enough and say that, right? Like, where he always saves everyone. I don't think people realize that, explaining why... like, how do I put this? Sorry, I'm just trying to think of a way to word it. Like, just because there's a reason for something that happened, doesn't mean that the people in chat have to like it, okay? You know what I mean? Like... now, it can maybe change people's opinion, of course, but just because there is a reason for something happening in narrative doesn't mean that they have to like that decision. Currently I'm just like, I don't know. I'm sitting here. I'm literally just sitting here. No, yeah, I'm not saying it was random, no. I don't think... I mean, I was even speculating about a big reset, a few chapters ago. I don't think it was random. It's just, you know, just because it wasn't random doesn't mean you have to like it. But it felt like the entire time it was constantly being shown that Subaru's way of thinking is wrong, but then But there's nothing wrong about wanting to save everyone. Well, there is something wrong with wanting to save everyone if it's unrealistic and it comes at the cost of yourself. Wanting to save everyone is a very admirable position to hold. But it could also be naive. And I mean, that's the, what was I gonna say? Fuck. That's the thing with, like, Phase 1 and 2, right? No matter what choice he made, people died. Either the Valakian military encampment gets attacked, or the Shudrokians get burned down. Because he can't do everything on his own. He can't save everyone by himself. And that's what he impugned Todd for at the very end, is that you can't do all this on your own, despite Todd not trusting anybody around him. I mean, yeah, so, like, it feels like this is a contradiction to that, which I like because it's giving weight to the idea that maybe he can. Well, no, I don't agree. I don't think this is proving that he can save everything on his own. I mean, this illustration alone is showing that he can't save everyone on his own. This chapter alone is proving that he can't save everyone on his own. I mean, him accepting Satella is, like, for the first time, not fearing Satella, for the first time desiring to feel that pain, to, like, to be in the witch's hands again. Yeah, there's literally a line saying with just Natsuki Supa's authority it isn't enough. It's because he can't do it all on his own. And obviously the infantilization thing is there. Which I know Moppet is not fond of, the infantilization, in terms of Subaru progressing and regressing at the same time. Thoughts on the new arcade chapter? Oh, it was great. I loved it when uh um anytime he was writing notes, he was actually reading arcade. Yeah, how'd you know? That's why I stopped writing notes at the end, is because I already caught up. Okay, well, I should end the stream because I have to I still have 2 videos to edit. I still have to work on the Phase 5 video, and I have to edit the anime video for next week. I will spend time thinking about this, just like I do every time I write scripts. And we will get back to you at some point. Just lie to Gyro anyway? Yeah, that's true. I should do that anyway. Yeah, but I understand the apprehension for this chapter. That reset really fucking knocks your ass out, bro. If you're still here, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. I am working on more ReZero videos, smile. And you can follow me on Twitter where I'm objectively correct all the time. And you can join my Discord where we talk about My Hero Academia, ReZero, Jujutsu Kaisen, and stuff like that. I will note, because I saw people posting this stream in Discord to have people come and shit on the chapter in my chat. If you are annoying in my server, I will just ban you. And also become a YouTube member. You get the emotes. The funny little emotes. Bop, 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 bop. Posting them all. Bop, bop, bop. Bam. There's the emotes. You get these. Isn't that sick? Alright, chat. Goodbye.